Good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Thursday, August 5th, 2021. And our top story today, America is going RVing this summer. What you need to know. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Monica Geraci is with the RV Industry Association. Monica, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's talk about RVing, and I see a lot of these RVs. I live in North Carolina now, and I see a lot of RVs on the road, and it just seems that more and more Americans, given what's happening with the pandemic, they're going out on the road, but they're looking to do that in RVs.
Absolutely. So we have really seen a lot of people turn to RVs over the past year, which continues a trend that was already in place before the pandemic. But definitely what we've seen is people have rediscovered the great outdoors, and at the same time discovered that RVs are the perfect way to get outdoors and enjoy nature.
Well, Monica, this is a great time, I think. We've had a lot of bad with COVID, certainly, health, financial. But if you have a family, if you have a partner, being able to reconnect with family, really important. Is there a specific demographic of person who gets in an RV and travels the countryside here?
So earlier this year, we actually released our Go RVing RV owner demographic study. And that takes a look at all of the people who own RVs. And what we found is for the first time, more than 50%, barely 51% are under the age of 55. And then 49% are over. So that's what is your traditional RV owner. But what we also did was survey people who bought RVs in 2020. And what we found there was the average age was closer to 42. So what we definitely have seen over the past year is a younger, more diverse buyer who has come into the RV market. Now, like I said, the under 55 being the majority of owners, that's new. So that trend had been coming down, a younger, more diverse RV owner, but definitely the people who bought in the past year has expedited that, increased that.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's a result of working remotely. I mean, if we saw people kind of flee the big cities, cities generally have a lot more opportunity. There's a lot to do, especially if you're a younger person. But I would think, as people wanted to move more out toward the suburbs during the pandemic to spread themselves out, hey, why not get in an RV, travel the U.S., and you can pretty much have one of these and access work.
Absolutely. And we definitely saw that a lot last fall. People who were just working from the road and schooling from the road as well. Those people with families, school for a lot of people was remote last year. And so why not pack up the family and see history firsthand, see this great country firsthand as well. So the remote work, and in particular last year, the remote school, also led a lot of people to experience RVing.
And, I'm old enough to remember the Winnebago. I used to have a Winnebago toy. I know my mom's watching. I used to have this Winnebago toy that I used to play with. These RVs are a marked improvement over the RVs of the 70s and 80s. I mean, you have all the creature comforts of beds that, full king-size beds, dishwasher. I mean, you're not living in as a pauper in these things.
No, you're not. And there is an RV for every lifestyle, every budget. Go RVing is a great resource for people to find out what type of RV would fit their lifestyle. But there is everything from little pop-ups all the way up to those large Class A bus-like motorhomes that have washers and dryers, dishwashers, all of the creature comforts of home. So you can, if you want that more roughing it feel, there are RVs that meet that need as well. That's really what I love the most about this industry, is there is something for everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, you can live in a palatial RV or you can live in a more Spartan RV, something for virtually anyone. Let me ask you real quick before we go to a commercial break. What about, we've had some rising gas prices. We had the Colonial Pipeline hack, which really here in North Carolina and parts of the South really impacted the ability to get gasoline. We've got the spike in the Delta variant. Seen an increase in in gasoline. Has that had an impact, whether it's diesel fuel or traditional regular fuel? Has that had an impact on RVing?
So we have not seen an impact on the demand for RVs in relation to the either the gas crisis. I'm here in Virginia, so definitely the gas running out impacted us here. But as far as the industry, we have not seen that impact this soaring demand for RVs. And even historically speaking, the increase in gas prices does not materially impact the demand for RVs.
That's good to know. People want to get out. They're going to figure out a way to get out, whether the gas price is X or Y. Monica, I need to take a very quick break. When we'll come back, we'll talk about tips, tricks, and things you need to think about before you set out on the road in an RV. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking to Monica Geraci with the RV Industry Association. Monica, thanks for staying with us this morning.
Absolutely.
So I think we had a great conversation about the who, the how, the why, and who's getting involved with RVing, and it seems to be everybody, all of the above. Let's talk about some tips and tricks. If I wanted to go out with my lovely wife, Jody, to buy an RV, what are some of the things that I need to think about? First of all, do I need a different classification for a license?
You do not. There are a few states, a regular driver's license, you are able to drive in any state. There are a handful that require a little bit of an extra test or something like that, but generally, and that's going to only be for those bus size RVs. You are good to go with a regular driver's license in every state.
That's great news. And how about going to a dealer and finding a dealership? I think you mentioned the website, but how do I know how to buy? I mean, how do I know what is right for me?
Yeah, so GoRVing.com, they relaunched this website last fall, and my favorite feature on the website is it has a quiz. Everyone loves online quizzes, right? And it asks you the questions. Are you looking to tow something? Or are you looking to drive? What level of luxury? We were talking about that a little bit earlier. So what level of luxury are you looking for? How many people are you planning to take on your trip or whenever you go RVing? And so it asks questions like that, and it helps you narrow down because there are so many different types of RVs. You have the motorized, which goes from the little van, the van campers, to the Type Cs, which are more the mini motorhomes. A lot of what people think about with the Winnebago, with the cab over, with the bunk over the cab. And then you've got those larger Type A, Class A motorhomes. And then on the towable side, you have everything from pop-ups to little teardrops to small towable bumper pull travel trailers that you can pull with an SUV. All the way up to those fifth wheels that are really nice, go into the bed of, you tow them with a fifth wheel hitch in the bed of the truck. So there's a lot of options. So GoRVing really helps you narrow down what type of RV you're looking for. And then it also can direct you to a dealership in your area, because the best way to determine what RV you want is to really get out there and see them in person and talk to your local dealer who can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, there's a lot of customization I have been reading about and seeing. I do a lot of YouTube video watching late at night, and look, I have fascination with camping and RVing. I'm not afraid to admit it. How do I figure out when I'm traveling on the road campsites? I would think that a lot of these RVs, some you can hook up to, I don't know if it's plumbing, but you can hook up to electric to run generators. There's all sorts of different things that you may need. Where do I empty out my my water or fill up my water container? What's a good source for that information as well?
Again, GoRVing is really your one-stop shop.
Okay.
And so there is, on GoRVing.com, you can find campground listings that will help you find the right campground. There are also a lot of great apps. Togo comes to mind, that helps you with not only like checklists, what to bring, but also a really cool GPS that gives you turn-by-turn directions and takes into account the size of your vehicle and the grade of the roads to make sure that you're going on a route that is best for the type of RV that you're either driving or towing. So there are some really good resources out there.
I guess the last thing you want to go is to a place with a low bridge. We've seen what's happened with that with certain tractor trailers.
Exactly.
I think you want to probably make sure that, and in all seriousness, there is a difference between driving a passenger vehicle or even a larger, like a Ford F-150 or a Chevy Suburban, right? I mean, these are big vehicles. If you're not used to it, they're wider. You have to make sure you look at your mirrors appropriate. A lot of people are used to the backup camera. Are there tricks and ways that people can kind of get themselves to being road ready before they head out on that very first trip?
Yeah, so do your research. This is, if you're not used to towing something, you're going to want to take a couple practice rounds around the parking lot before you leave the dealership. You're going to want to practice. A lot of times the recommendation is to, do your first trip and only go an hour or so away. So you drive a little way, set up, get used to what you're doing before you. Probably don't recommend starting off with, an 8-hour day on the road. And generally speaking, just go slow. Give yourself plenty of time. Generally, you're on vacation, or even if you're working from the road, it doesn't really matter where you're at. So give yourself time. Make sure you're not rushing, making turns. You're not trying to fly down the fast lane. Hang out in the right-hand lane, drive a little bit slower, and just be cautious about what you're doing. And if you haven't done this before, do your research, watch those YouTube videos. And one of the things that, in addition to the quiz, GoRVing has started this first timers toolkit that takes their short videos, 5 to 10 minutes long, from experienced RVers that give you those 101s, how to tow, how to set up the campground. So they're really helpful building on people's experience and providing that to all of these new consumers.
Yeah, you need those resources, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm sure there are subreddits and Reddits and different chat rooms maybe even on GoRVing.com. Last question, and this is more of a, I guess, a generic question for traveling. More and more people hitting the road. It's probably good to know your destination and in between, but also rest stops where you can get food, maybe emergency care if you need urgent care. If you know, for God forbid, you trip, bust a knee up, or whatever. It's really, people should really plan along the way so they know where to go in case something should happen.
Absolutely. I mean, and one of the best things about an RV is, you know, you have your rest stop right there. Either if it's motorized and you're driving, you pull over to the side and you've got the kitchen or the bathroom right there. Same thing, towable, you've got your kitchen and your bathroom right behind your car. So knowing where those rest stops are, and definitely the emergency care that you talked about, and apps are incredibly helpful for those things. But you know, we did in that same survey that we found the demographics of people who have bought RVs in the past year. We also asked why. And unsurprisingly, the number one reason was the love of road trips. And the second was traveling in comfort. And that's what you get with an RV. And then even what I find the most interesting is that then it was using an RV as a base camp for other outdoor recreation and exploring the great outdoors. Those were the reasons people bought RVs in 2020. And those are the same reasons people have always bought RVs. So that really speaks to people looking to RVs, not just because of the pandemic. When we asked restrictions on other travel because of the pandemic, was actually fourth from the bottom for reasons why people bought RVs. So you can travel in comfort. You got your rest stop with you.
Yeah, and it really is. It's the American spirit of adventure. It's almost kind of goes back to the exploring the Old West. Monica, we're going to have to leave it there. Really great to talk to you. Really, really great to see people kind of getting out on the road, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thank you so much.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. We're back again tomorrow, so until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.